The next point is role of preventive maintenance in safety and health. So we all have studied the different types of maintenance in the diploma or degree syllabus while doing the engineering. So that may be a corrective maintenance, that may be a breakdown maintenance, that may be a preventive maintenance, that may be online maintenance, etc. Then in this point, we have to discuss only about preventive maintenance. So prevention is better than cure, we all know. And on the basis of that, we have to do this preventive maintenance. So to avoid the breakdown, to avoid the shutdown of the process, to avoid the shutdown of the equipment or the total plant, we have to do this maintenance. That is why it is called as preventive maintenance. So depending on your experience, depending on the supervision skills, and depending on the expertise for that particular equipment or machinery, we can predict that this particular part is going to corrected, or it may be corroded, it may be leaked, or it may be cracked. So whatever the things are there, due to which if there is a need of maintenance in the future, then that prediction should be communicated to the expert person, and then we must go for the preventive maintenance. So that is the basic background or the practicality of this preventive maintenance. So it provides companies with several important benefits related to the cost, errors, and health and safety. So these benefits include improved reliability and life of equipment, fewer costly repairs, and downtimes associated with the unexpected equipment failure. So before failure, we have to judge, we have to predict that part replacement or repairing, whatever it may be, and that should be completed within the time or before time. Then studies consistently show a strong correlation between the amounts of preventive maintenance an organization does and the organization safety incident rates. That is the meaning. The more preventive maintenance is performed, the lower the incident rate. So if your frequency of preventive maintenance is more, then the incident rate is low. So less incident, less accidents are going to happen if you are doing the preventive maintenance on a continuous basis and with high frequency. So the less preventive maintenance performed, the higher the incident rate. In fact, if you want to look at the KPI for your safety program, one to consider is the amount of reactive maintenance you perform. That is goal being obviously to reduce your percentage of reactive maintenance. So to avoid the breakdown maintenance, to avoid the stoppage of machinery, to avoid the stoppage of process, to avoid the shutdown of the plant, we have to go for the preventive maintenance that also benefits in terms of lowering the incident rate. So this is all about the preventive maintenance. What is preventive maintenance? So we have already discussed all these things. What exactly the preventive maintenance is to avoid the breakdown and failures. What the maintenance is that called is preventive maintenance. So it is designed to preserve and enhance the equipment reliability by replacing worn components before they actually fail. So we have to observe this worn components and then we have to replace it. So these are the different parameters which is related to the preventive maintenance, that is that enhances the safety level. Then liability is more. The responsibility of the preventive maintenance or the central maintenance are there, and they have to observe all these components or the parts of that machineries. Then it is a reliable process because due to which we are going to avoid the major breakdown maintenances and longevity. So these are the different parameters which are related to the preventive maintenance. So we have to plan the preventive maintenance in a smarter way. So the types of maintenance, that is preventive and corrective. So we have already discussed about this. So with this preventive maintenance, we can save our time. We can find the failure components, and these are the condition based and prediction based, and they are going to reduce the risk. But in the corrective actions or the corrective maintenance or breakdown maintenance, they are deferred, and this is nothing but the emergency situation. Role of this preventive maintenance in safety and health. So reason for the need of PM is increased automation, business loss due to the production delays, production of higher quality product, just-in-time manufacturing, need for a more organized and planned environment. So advantage, we already discussed these advantages. Just go through this, that reduce the production downtime, resulting in fewer machine breakdowns, better conservations of assets, then timely routine repairs circumvent fewer large scale repairs. If failure can't be prevented, periodic inspection should be held. The severity, to reduce the severity and reduce the cost of repairs, identification of equipment with excessive maintenance cost. The cost of plant maintenance is always cheaper than the emergency maintenance. Better quality product, improved safety and quality conditions. The key of successful PM system is scheduling and execution. Scheduling means should be automated to the maximum extent possible, and execution should be done before the actual breakdown occurs. Because if it is done before the actual breakdown, then only it is called as preventive maintenance. Otherwise, it becomes breakdown maintenance after failure. So why we are focusing all these things related to the PM? That is for the cleaning, production, lubrications, and corrective deficiencies. So all these things found through the testing and inspection, then predetermined parts replacement should be minimal and done only where statistical evidence clearly indicates wear out characteristics. So we have to plan this preventive maintenance in a better way. So that policy should be considered carefully. That is maintenance policy. Then it should be planned in advance. That should be work in control and directed to conform the prearranged plan. Historical and statistical record are compiled and maintained accordingly. So what are the benefits of the plant maintenance? So greater plant availability, less costly, high level of output, greater utilization, servicing and adjustment is not overlooked, improved budget control, improved stocks and spare control, provision of information for realistic forecast, focusing attention on frequently recurring jobs. So these are the various benefits of this plant maintenance. And this diagram shows you the hierarchy of control. So elimination or substitution, that gives the most effective process as engineering control to reduce the hazards, and administrative control or personal protective equipments are the least effective. So we have to go for the engineering control, and preventive maintenance is the part of engineering control. So that requires a physical change to the workplace. And that is why we should prefer the preventive maintenance than the other types of maintenance. With reference to this, the different important codes and standards are available for the plant and the equipments. So to bring out the state of the art information on the various subjects, to maintain the uniform standards of products manufactured by various agencies, to serve as a bank of updated information to support some mandatory work, to serve as recommendations of experts in the concerned field, and it is usually in formal documents that established a uniform engineering or technical criteria, methods, process, practices, and all these standards allow for interchangeability of parts, system interoperability, and they ensure quality, reliability, and safety. So to achieve the quality of product, to achieve the maximum quantity, to achieve the more efficiency in the production, and to achieve the safety aspects, we have to follow the codes and practices or the standards which are available in India, or when you are referring the state, then that may be the state rules. So what are the reasons for that? Every accident brings a new point of view. So after every accident, you are thinking from that point of view. So the way may be different. The new chemicals, machinery, technology, etc. add to new types of stresses and hazards. Because when we are adding some chemicals in your process, when you are going to substitute the chemicals in the process, or you are going to substitute the process totally, or when you are going to change the machinery, or there is any modification in the machinery, or when you are adopting the latest technology, or you are going to change the technology, then the different characteristics and different hazards should be mentioned accordingly, and we have to think, we have to change the total planning accordingly, because otherwise there may be a chances of accident due to these new chemicals or new machineries or new technology. The advancement in technology are bringing up better control techniques, but for that you have to go through the total or detailed training of this advanced technology. Then there are some regulatory standards are available. So statutory provisions means regulatory standards, so which are essential or mandatory to maintain the minimum standard to ensure the safety at workplaces, but it is a process of amendment. Is so lengthy and time consuming that it is very difficult to keep the match with the state. So whatever the standards are available, for example, the Factory Act 1948 is a generalized act for all the industries applicable in the India. And for the state of Maharashtra, you have to follow the Maharashtra Factory Rule 1963. Likewise, there are number of rules and regulations what we have to follow depending on the applicability of that rule to your organizations. But when we are saying that this is the act or the rule and it is mandatory conditions, then we have to follow all that. If there is any amendment in that rule, then we have to follow that amendment from the date of publication of that official gazette. In view of the above, some standards codes are essential to support and provide information guidelines on state of the art on the subject. Rules under the act are intended to such a purpose, but those two are not revised frequently. So sometimes it happens that some of the acts and rules and regulations are not changing or not modified on a frequently basis. Sometimes there are 10 years, 20 years, 30 years gap also in the amendment. So that is not a good practice, but that is in the control of government, not ours control. Then some non-regulatory standards are also available. So non-regulatory standards like BIS standards or IS standards, we have to follow, because in the IS standards, they have given detailed testing processes, detailed parameters requirement at a particular level, etc. And we can adopt these IS standards for our processes, for our product, for our testing of equipment, or some other process also. So sometimes the international organizations or agencies may serve as a dynamic guidelines. So sometimes we have to follow the ILO guidelines, sometimes we have to follow the WHO guidelines, sometimes we have to follow the American systems like ACGIS systems or some other systems, which are very stringent as per our regulatory standards. And then if your company and organization or management is agree to follow these guidelines, then we have to follow the international guidelines also. Otherwise, the standards can only be used voluntarily for the sake of product quality or organizational repute. So ISO standard is also there, IS standard is also there, ILO standard is also there. So various standards are available at the national level as well as at the international level, but which are not the regulatory or not the mandatory conditions, but depending on the company's policy, they can follow all these standards. And regulatory standards are mandatory or essential only. So this is what I discussed, that is ISO standards for the safety, health and environment. You can follow that. And some other codes like acts Factory Act, Explosive Act, Petroleum Act, Gas Cylinder Rule, Boiler Act, Electricity Act, National Building Codes, SMPB rules, etc. So these are the different codes are available nowadays. And in maybe next year also, the Occupational Safety Health 2020 Act may be there, and which may be the replacement of the Factory Act. So up till now, from 1948, we are following this Factory Act and their sections. But now, as per the latest requirement of the latest conditions, and with reference to the different aspects of occupational safety and health, government has prepared OSH 2020 guidelines, and now they are going to execute in near future, maybe next year. So these are the work areas: aisles, walkways, stairways, equipment that should be kept clear. So emergency exits, combustible trashes, papers, then use flammable combustibles. So all these guidelines are under the preventive